I want to remind you today of a powerful truth. God will change your situation. No matter the struggles or challenges you face, trust that God is working behind the scenes to transform your life. Isaiah 43:19 says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." You might feel stuck in a wilderness, lonely, lost, or overwhelmed, but God promises to bring a way out and provide hope where none seems to exist. Matthew 21:22 tells us, "If you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer." Faith is the key to unlocking God's power. Don't allow doubt or fear to stop you. Instead, turn to Him in prayer and believe that change is possible. Remember, God has the ability to turn mourning into joy. As Psalm 30:11 says, "You turned my wailing into dancing, you removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy." No matter how painful your season might be, God will bring restoration and joy in His perfect time. So hold on to Romans 8:28. In all things God works for the good of those who love Him. Whatever your situation looks like, trust that God's plan for you is good. Be patient and believe, for in due time He will make all things new. God is not done with you yet. Trust Him, have faith, and watch Him change your situation for His glory. God's power to transform situations is evident throughout the Bible, where He consistently demonstrates His ability to create change in the most impossible circumstances. Isaiah 43:19 says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." This verse reminds us that God is always at work, even in the barren and desolate places of our lives. When faced with hardships, we often see only obstacles, but God sees opportunities for renewal, growth, and breakthrough. His power is not limited by our circumstances or human understanding. When the Israelites stood trapped between Pharaoh's army and the Red Sea, it seemed like the end, but God made a way by parting the sea, demonstrating His ability to make a way where there is none. In the wilderness, where survival seemed impossible, God provided manna from heaven and water from a rock. These acts highlight how God not only changes situations, but also ensures that His provision is complete and timely. His power doesn't just alter physical circumstances, it also renews hearts, minds, and spirits, turning despair into hope and weakness into strength. God's transformation often begins when we align ourselves with His will and trust in His promises. He calls us to have faith, even when we don't understand the path ahead. As in Isaiah 43:19, His new work sometimes requires letting go of the old. Holding on to fear, past failures, or our own understanding can blind us to the new ways God is working in our lives. Trust in His ability to do the unexpected, and be open to seeing streams in the wasteland of your life. God's power to transform knows no bounds, and He is faithful to fulfill His promises. Faith is essential to experiencing God's divine intervention. In Matthew 21:22, Jesus says, "If you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer." This verse emphasizes the importance of belief and trust in God's ability to intervene in our lives. Faith is the foundation upon which we approach God, knowing that He has the power to do immeasurably more than we can ask or imagine. Without faith, we may hesitate to pray boldly or expectantly, which limits our capacity to see His work manifest in our situations. The Bible is filled with stories where faith was the key to extraordinary outcomes. When the woman with the issue of blood approached Jesus in faith, believing that even touching the hem of His garment would heal her, her faith made her whole. Similarly, the centurion who trusted that Jesus could heal his servant with just a word displayed unwavering faith, and his servant was healed without Jesus even stepping into his home. These examples reveal that faith not only invites God's intervention, but also demonstrates our reliance on Him. Faith requires us to trust God even when circumstances seem bleak. When Peter walked on water toward Jesus, his faith allowed him to defy the laws of nature, but as soon as he doubted, he began to sink. This illustrates how crucial it is to keep our eyes fixed on God rather than the storms around us. Faith doesn't mean we won't face difficulties, rather, it is the confidence that God is greater than our challenges. Faith is not passive, it requires action. We must pray, trust, and take steps in obedience, believing that God will fulfill His promises. Faith moves the heart of God and brings His supernatural power into our natural circumstances, transforming impossibilities into testimonies. God's promise to turn mourning into joy is a powerful testament to His transformative nature. In Psalm 30:11, it says, "You turned my wailing into dancing. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy." This verse reflects the assurance that God is not indifferent to our pain or struggles. Instead, He is actively working to restore and renew us, even in the midst of our darkest moments. Mourning is a natural part of life's challenges, but it is not the final destination for those who trust in God. His promise of joy signifies a divine exchange. Grief is replaced with hope, and despair is turned into celebration. Throughout the Bible, God repeatedly demonstrates His ability to bring beauty out of ashes. Consider Job, who lost everything but remained steadfast in his faith. In the end, God restored him with double of what he had lost, including his joy. Similarly, the story of Ruth and Naomi shows how God can redeem sorrow. Naomi, who returned to Bethlehem grieving the loss of her husband and sons, later found joy through Ruth's marriage to Boaz and the birth of a grandson, Obed, who would become part of the lineage of Jesus Christ. These stories are reminders that God's timing and plans far surpass our understanding. God's promise to bring joy doesn't mean He erases the memory of our pain, but He redeems it for a greater purpose. The mourning season teaches us valuable lessons about God's comfort, strength, and faithfulness. In the end, His joy replaces the heaviness of grief with renewed purpose. When we trust Him, we allow Him to transform even the hardest seasons into opportunities for growth, gratitude, and celebration. This divine joy is not based on circumstances, but on God's unwavering love and power. God works everything for good, even in situations that seem hopeless or overwhelming. Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." This verse provides assurance that no matter what we face, God is actively weaving our experiences into a greater plan. It doesn't mean everything will be easy or free of pain, but it does mean that even hardships and challenges can be used for a divine purpose when we trust in Him. Joseph's story in Genesis is a perfect illustration of this truth. Betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused and imprisoned, Joseph's life appeared to be a series of misfortunes. However, through these trials, God was preparing him to save Egypt and his family during a severe famine. Joseph later said to his brothers in Genesis 50:20, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." God's ability to turn what was meant for harm into something good reveals His sovereignty over every situation. Even our mistakes and failures can be redeemed for His glory. Peter, who denied Jesus 3 times, was later restored and became a bold leader in spreading the gospel. God's goodness transforms not just external circumstances but also our hearts, renewing us with purpose and hope. Trusting in His promise allows us to find peace in the midst of trials, knowing He is working behind the scenes. His plans are higher and greater than anything we could imagine, ensuring that nothing we go through is ever wasted when we place it in His hands. This truth encourages us to persevere with faith, hope, and confidence in His divine purpose. Patience and trust in God's timing are crucial when waiting for Him to change our situations. Ecclesiastes 3:1 states, "There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens." This verse reminds us that God has appointed seasons for every aspect of life, and His timing is always perfect. While waiting can often feel frustrating or difficult, it is during these times that our faith is refined and our character is strengthened. Trusting God's timing means surrendering control and believing that He knows what is best for us. Abraham and Sarah's story exemplifies the importance of patience and trust. God promised them a son, but the fulfillment of that promise did not come until many years later, at a time when it seemed humanly impossible. Despite their initial doubts, God remained faithful, and His timing ensured that the glory of the miracle was undeniable. Similarly, David was anointed king as a young shepherd boy, but it took years of challenges and preparation before he finally ascended to the throne. These delays were not denials, they were seasons of preparation for God's greater purposes. Impatience can lead us to make decisions outside of God's will, as seen in the story of Saul, who lost his kingdom because he couldn't wait for Samuel to arrive to offer the sacrifice. Patience allows us to rest in God's sovereignty, trusting that He is working everything out for our good, even if we cannot yet see the full picture. It also helps us develop resilience and deepen our reliance on Him. God's timing often leads to outcomes far greater than we could achieve on our own. When we trust Him completely, we align ourselves with His plans and experience peace while we wait for His perfect will to unfold. In life, we all face situations that seem unchangeable, overwhelming, or hopeless. But God's Word assures us that He has the power to transform anything. He can create new paths in the wilderness, bring joy out of mourning, and work all things together for good. Through faith, trust in His promises, and patience in His perfect timing, we can experience the fullness of His grace and power. No matter the challenges you face, hold on to these truths. God is in control, His love for you is unshakable, and He is always at work in your life. Trust in Him and believe that He will change your situation in ways that glorify Him and fulfill His purpose for you. As you leave today, may your faith in God grow stronger and your hope remain steadfast. Be confident that He is making a way for you even now. Trust Him, pray boldly, and look forward to the new things He is about to do in your life. Stay patient, stay faithful, and may you experience the fullness of His blessings. Good luck on your journey of faith, and thank you for allowing me to share this message with you. God bless you.